I just want to say you did a very good job. So good job. It's that thing where you're actually kind of smart. Things you say make you sound dumb.
Yeah, we both do that.
What's that called?
Nope.
Yeah, but you're a little different, Dad.
Stop saying sure! Oh, it drives me crazy!
Are you seeing clear? Are you seeing clear?
I think most people just ignore the tough question. This isn't Minecraft. This is real life.
You are hilarious.
That was not the dog, Dad. That was you.
Yeah, to solve this, we have to completely ignore the main problem.
That makes literally no sense to me. I just want to die.
And that, my friend, is one of my favorite things about you. Hey, welcome to Renaissance Radio. I'm Jeremy, your host, the least cool person at the table currently. I have two incredible guests in the booming metropolis of Danville, Ohio. Yeah. Represent. All right, so why don't you introduce yourself so I don't mess it up?
Oh, I'm Emily Severns, the blonde one.
And I'm Megan Severns. I formerly was the blonde one.
Yeah.
I'm a brunette now, thanks to COVID.
Oh, man. So, Emily and Megan, why are we here today? What is this place? What is this wonderful, amazing, hard to describe? It's not... Do you have a segment of design that you would fall into, or you're kind of your own thing, right? How do we describe this place? Blonde Robin.
I feel like we're not really like crazy out there or anything. We're more like chill, everyday outfits, and then like you throw in some like pretty dresses and
Yeah, but like super cute. Like super cute stuff. Not like everyday, like today doesn't matter type stuff. We're talking like very intentional
like you're comfortable
stuff.
Wearing it, and you're not going to feel like uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like
you may or may not be able to see it, YouTube crowd, but I'm wearing my
Cool Mom
sweatshirt. It is so soft, and it is. I mean that legitimately. You guys know that I'm a clothing snob, and can usually call out a coat size from across the room or a brand or whatever. But in this case, this is great, and I'm interested to see how it washes. I don't know. Have you been through the wash with it yet?
Not
just
yet.
be careful. Yeah,
No,
just be
not
careful.
yet.
But it's really cool. The design's pretty minimal, good colors, everything like that. So give us a quick overview for the folks who don't know you. You have a really good following online, but for the folks that don't know you, maybe there's some crossover happening right now. Give us some of the bullet points. What are we dealing with here?
So we've been open for about 6.5 years now. We opened actually the year after I graduated. No, the summer I
It
graduated.
was on your birthday.
Yeah, on my birthday.
It's always about her, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Emily was still in high school when we started with our mom, and it kind of shifted, and now it's me and Emily, and we've kind of just turned it into a whole new thing and made it our own.
So for those of you listening in and can't see it here, we are in a beautiful. Was this formerly a funeral parlor?
Yeah, funeral, doctor's office, restaurants.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Obviously, like we talked to Jeff and Amy about some of their stuff, and they're like, yeah, this used to be a chicken barn or a turkey barn, and it was disgusting and all that. Listen, if you're listening in, these things have history, and it takes time to get them to where they are. This is such a light and airy and beautiful. And I'm noticing right now the trim work is all quarter sawn oak, it looks like. And if you're not familiar with that, that's when the wood is cut at like a 45-degree angle. So the fleck and it just looks awesome. And white walls and rich floor, like
Oh, yeah.
such
The floors in here are beautiful.
they're unbelievable. It's got that enough creak that you respect it, but you're not nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't
Yeah.
like to be in here at nighttime though. It still creeps me out that it used to
Why
be a
is
funeral home.
that? Why is that? Like, it's things like you're like, it doesn't matter that it was a funeral home. It doesn't matter. It also doesn't matter that the floors creak, and it doesn't matter that it's dark. The doors are locked. Man, when you put all those things together,
It's
Oh,
creepy.
and the basement is creepy, super creepy.
I don't know any buildings of this age that don't have creepy basements. Like,
Dirt floor.
there's nothing about a basement from the 20s or before that doesn't say you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Like it's you are not supposed to be down here. You're in trouble. This movie's not going to end well, is what basements always say. We had a house like that. Our first house was like 900. Ashley and I have 900 square feet, and we added a room on where the porch was and made it 1,100 square feet. So it was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and we turned it into a 3-bedroom, 2 bath.
Nice.
And it had like a mostly basement. And I hesitate to tell this story. I'm not making fun, but I'm just saying it's unconventional. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But somebody had created a prayer closet down there, which I thought was really sweet. But they did it by removing blocks from the foundation and digging into the dirt. So I didn't care for that so much.
Yeah.
But it's had dirt floor sort of thing too. And I was like, put the foundation back, let's put that back.
Kind of scary prayer room.
Yeah. But she was dedicated. So there we go. So the reason I always say that I'm very excited to have guests, and I mentioned this in the Ron and Lene episode. Of course I'm excited because I get to pick my guests, right? So I'm not being insincere. I'm literally going through everybody that I see and I go, these folks are people that these listeners should get a chance to hear from. And the reason I want them to hear from you is a couple things about you. Now you're more complex than this. I'm not reducing you to these features, these things, but the reality is you are two young ladies that are business owners. And statistically, you're not in the majority, right?
No.
As two young ladies. You're also family. You're also sisters with one another. Partnerships, and especially partnerships with family, can pose challenges that don't exist elsewhere. And also, the quality of your work kind of transcends your space. And so when I look at this, I go, this is really, from a Renaissance agency standpoint, these are two business owners who get it. There's an attention to detail that is beyond the space that they're in. You could pick this space up and you could put it down in Portland or LA or Columbus or any other rural small town or anywhere else, and it holds up. And I think that's pretty cool. Sometimes you have businesses well, you're welcome. It's definitely not it's not charity. I mean it. You have certain businesses that you would take, and if you move them, they're not a thing anymore, right? Like, of course, there's surf shops, right? And you move away from water, but there's some Americana type stores that if you moved them out closer to the city, they wouldn't work. And I think you guys have somehow found, and you're not self-loathing about your small town either. You love your town. You love the people in it. You were just talking to me about that beforehand. What do you love about being in this town specifically?
Well, everyone's very friendly.
Yeah.
Plus, we get to see most of the people every day because we have the coffee shop.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Did you do that to make friends or because you wanted to sell coffee?
Well, it's a long story, but we kind of had to if we wanted.
All right, that's all the time we have today. Okay, so are you going to tell the story?
Oh, well, the coffee machine actually isn't even ours, like the espresso machine.
You stole it? Or
No.
what's
it
going
was
on?
already here.
It was already here. It's
Oh,
our
okay, I'm not
landlord.
part of a
let's do a
crime or
coffee shop.
anything.
Yeah. He
Oh,
said
okay.
the only way that we could have our store in here, the boutique, is if we use the espresso machine. And we don't even like coffee that much. So,
That's
We've
unconventional.
learned to like coffee.
yeah, we've learned to like coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not the centerpiece. Most coffee shops
Yeah.
do coffee, then something.
Yeah.
It's not the
Yeah.
centerpiece for you.
Yeah, that was like kind of like an afterthought.
If the town prohibition on caffeine goes through, you're still going to sell clothes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
They make it
Yes.
illegal to sell coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So of those three things that I mentioned, and I don't want to assign any sort of difficulty that's not there. So of the three things that I mentioned, I think I mentioned the fact that you are female business owners, young female business owners, that you're partners and you're working with family. Of those three, is there one of those areas that pose what you would consider maybe a higher number of challenges or more difficulty than the other? Or did I just make that list up and really none of those things have really affected you at all?
I feel like it doesn't really affect us that much. I mean, we do fight a lot, but like we said, we hang
On
out.
the family front?
Oh, yeah. We hang
Yeah.
out. We're always together 24/7. We always tell people that we're like an old married couple because
Right.
we fight like crazy. But we're over it in like 2 seconds because we're like best friends.
Oh, that's so sweet. Like, so I think it's funny because one thing that I'm learning with my wife and my kids and other relationships I've been learning several times over the year. I just talked to you guys about bumping the mic and then here I am knocking this thing over. Is the rules for fighting are very important. It's not really how bad the fight is. It's making sure that both of you stay within the parameters of acceptable. Cause you know when somebody's trying to hurt you and when they're just mad.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
usually
Like when-
me. I usually try to hurt
You get the
her.
nasty
Sometimes I
one.
really want to punch her, but I don't.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you're an emotionally violent person and
Yes,
you're a physically
unfortunately.
violent person. And, shop at Blonde Robin and we
Yeah.
can maybe get these girls some help.
Oh,
We
we've
won't
had
treat our
some
customers
people
that
walk
way.
in on us
And you're
fighting.
like going, yeah, that's wild.
But we're close with them, so they just laugh about
That's
it.
good. Yeah. What's the total population of town here? Would you say?
Like 1,200.
Around 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's spread out. I mean, it's not all
Lots
central.
of farmland.
Oh,
Lots
yeah.
of farm. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so beautiful out here. We did, like I said, I interviewed Jeff and Amy out at Kokosing River Outfitters and now the Roost, which is their experience space out there. I really think it's so odd. I mean, I spent a few years in Danville growing up, and I have nothing negative to say about it, but I would not have expected that as I speak with commercial clients that I would say, hey, you know what would be a great place for you to go? You should go out and have this experience and stay at this place and make sure you stop at this shop. It's very strange to me. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but
No, it is. Yeah.
what do you think about that? Like being a destination for these things. Pretty soon, I noticed that Risen Thrift is going to be out there, and they're going to have like legitimately incredible clothing volumes and things like it's going to be worth driving there to get what you need.
Yeah, I'm excited for them.
It helps a lot that we're on a main road that goes to Berlin, where lots of people
62.
travel.
Yeah.
So
Lots of
what
people
for
travel
those?
from Columbus.
Where's Berlin? I mean, what's Berlin?
Amish country.
Yeah.
I knew that. So has Amish country like been a part of your life? Do you have Amish friends or?
I mean, Amish neighbors.
Yeah, we know Amish. Yeah.
But
I wouldn't say that we're like friends. We
You
have
don't
friends
hang
with
out?
them. Yeah, we don't hang
Yeah.
out with them.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps because we have so much traffic coming from like Columbus area heading to Berlin. And we're just like that, like halfway point for someone to stop.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. How much does roadside? And you can adjust that mic if it'll crinkle a little bit, but if it feels like if you feel like you're blocking it or whatever. But
this
as long-
better?
That's much better. Does
Okay.
that sound better?
Yeah,
You
it
too?
sounds a lot better.
Yeah. How much do you feel like you're getting attention? What about online versus social media? I know those are both internet, but like online versus social media versus roadside appeal. Like what is bringing in the business for you?
I would say social media, huge.
Instagram is huge.
Yeah. I
We
would
saw. Sorry, you go ahead.
How
Right.
nice of you. That was so nice that you deferred as the violent one. Thank you.
Probably a year and a half ago. What did you say whenever we started doing the videos?
Yeah, we started doing a lot more on like our Instagram stories, getting on there talking about different products we got in, new inventory, like just everyday life too. That like it really made people feel more involved in
Yeah,
it.
it's crazy too. And I don't mean this as a negative, but I don't know that people even pick up on exactly what you're saying every time. They're just seeing you in the feed all the time and they're like, oh, I love that. That's cute. And they stop and listen. But like, I think they're just seeing you regularly enough to go, like feel like they know you.
Yeah,
And
I feel like we need to do a little bit more of a better job at like showing people what we're like because they only see us when we're on here talking in the shop. Like we don't show them like our everyday lives. And I think people would like to see that more, but
that's true.
it is kind of nice having a little bit of privacy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because like going to Walmart, someone runs into you, you have no idea who they are. They're like, "You're from Blonde Robin." We're like, "Yeah, we were just fighting 2 minutes ago, so we need to kind of watch how we're
I
acting."
know, you gotta watch for how we're acting.
When I was
in public.
photographing weddings, I would have, you'd have 100 people that knew who you were because I'm standing in front of them taking a picture and I didn't know like any of them. And so you do that for 12 or 14 years times however many 30 weddings a year or 40 or 15 or whatever. And like, you've got 10,000 people that have seen you and they're like, "Hey, Jeremy, like, you got to give me more than that, bud." Like,
Yeah, like, I don't know who you
I
are.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm famous. It's just that I happen to be standing in front of them during that one moment. And then they use the photos as reference later. And it's just like, it's weird when someone approaches you. It's real weird when they do that with the kids and stuff. Some like middle-aged dude comes up and like, "How's your baby girl?" I'm like,
Oh yeah.
"What are you talking about?" He's like, "Cecilia, remember we met at college?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." I'm like, I thought I was going to have to kill somebody. And it turns out he's a really nice guy. Social media creates all sorts of difficulty with that
Yeah.
because you want to grow, but not at the expense of everything.
Yeah, you still want to have a personal life.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's a great topic to get into here is how do you filter what you post when you post? Are you stream of consciousness, Gary V kind of thing where you just post all the time? Or you kind of have some sort of thing of like, this is the vibe I want to give. This is what I want people to feel.
You can go.
Don't know.
I feel like we don't really
don't
think
know.
about it too hard because
Yeah.
people don't really want to see perfect all the time. So
Yeah.
You're just like, if you get stirred up and think something's cute, you just
yeah, we'll just
post that
like
it's
half
cute.
the time when I'm videoing, I look horrible. Like I look like I just crawled out of bed.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
But I'm like, that's me. That's what I'm like most of the time. So
That's funny. I'm neither going to confirm nor deny that. I see your stuff on there. I'm not going to make comments about you
Our
look
appearance.
horrible or that you don't look horrible. I'm just going to say, I think that's pretty cool that you just like kind of throw it up there. I think one of the things I've been working with clients on to figure out is the persona of the social platforms. I think cross posting is creating all sorts of difficulty for people, where you take one piece of content and you put it everywhere, because people aren't on all these platforms for the same reasons. I don't want to see, that one behind the scenes video in 6 different platforms, even though it's effective because I see it and whatever. So what we've been trying to figure out and work through is like, what is Twitter for? Twitter's for polls and data and information and interesting questions and conversations and comments. Instagram really, I think, is exactly how you're using it is really awesome. Like behind the scenes, what you're doing. But like YouTube is different than that. TikTok is really different than that.
Oh yeah.
I tried to sign up, says I'm too old, but I guess I got to get to know it for the clients. But trying to decide, like, I think where we're moving is putting out one chunk of content and then knowing right away, okay, this is a Twitter thing, this is a LinkedIn thing, so that people are getting a more well-rounded experience when they see it. They're like, oh, this is business, this is behind the scenes. Doing something like that for you guys, like, does that sound crazy? The idea of putting different content on different platforms?
Yeah, like I don't even know what LinkedIn is.
Yeah, you don't have to. You got a job.
Yeah.
I think we just use Facebook and Instagram, don't we?
That's it, huh?
That's all we use.
And it works.
Yeah. And then we have like our online account, but that's not really like our website, but that's not social media.
I don't think we take advantage of everything on Instagram though too, like Reels and IGTVs. Like we need to get more into that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the same thing. Like Reels, IGTV, stories, posts all have different reasons. Like I've tried posting some story type content on my posts on my page. It just looks bad. It just like, you know what I mean?
It's not aesthetically pleasing.
Great aesthetic. Yeah, you've got this great aesthetic, and then all of a sudden you've got this blurry picture of me like doing this. But on stories, it works.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Like your feed like is normally more artsy, but your story can be as raw and real as you want it to be because it's not showing up
behind the scenes. Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
hilarious. You say raw and real, like you're raw and real. It's like hair done in this really cute shop with a latte. Come on. Raw
No,
and
you
real.
got to come in here like in the morning when we just pick up
I gotta
milk
catch
and
a
bring it
fight.
in here. Yeah.
Yeah. You should have seen me a couple hours ago. It was rough.
Yeah, that's funny. I guess you did know I was coming, so you had a chance to like work it out and compose, that sort of thing. So what are some, first of all, if a company's trying to like, obviously give us a ring, I can try to connect you with these ladies, if they have the time, but, as far as you sell on Instagram too, you set up your Instagram store. What was that process like? I mean, not selling from Instagram, but literally selling through Instagram, right? You have an actual shop on Instagram?
I think so.
It's kind
What do you mean you think so?
I'm not
I think
real
I bought a
good with
shirt
that kind
from
of
you.
stuff, but
it's linked up to like our online store.
there's
so-
I don't know.
So there's like an API, like it's a plugin to your website now through Instagram.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to show that to you after the show because
Like I
Is
try
that-
you
and
can
figure this.
sell on Instagram. Just so you
Okay.
know.
Yeah, you can. I think
What on earth?
I don't know if I got it completely set up. Like I'm not good with this stuff. I have to like Google it. I didn't go
Yeah.
to college for this type. I like set up the whole website myself, and I'm still learning how to.
None of us did, and we'll definitely talk about some of that. This is so fun. Did you guys see the links page that I have for myself? Oh, I'm recording over there.
I don't
It's
know.
really, really cool. It's just like kind of like Linktree. It's a different service, but I really like it.
where it like has all the different.
Yeah, but you can keep people updated and it links to everywhere. So that's part of our plan with ourselves and with our clients of getting content to multiple places is like, you just go to that, you just click that link from anywhere and it says shop our store, or check out YouTube, and it kind of deploys you where you want to go. And you can have it automatically update with the newest Instagram posts or things like that. I'll put a link in the blog and on the show notes. I think I have an affiliate link for that, but it's like $3.99 a month or something like that. It's really, really cheap.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that people, even your biggest of fans, are not going to follow. So LinkedIn, by the way, was purchased by, this is how old I am. LinkedIn was purchased by Microsoft, and it's basically like business Facebook.
Okay.
And so people who are looking for jobs, they have certifications, qualifications, job history, and all
Oh wait,
that.
I knew that.
Yeah, you're not anywhere near needing that. Like you're good. Your job is secure. You don't need anything else. But it's a good place for that sort of thing. So people who are networking business to business will want to have a LinkedIn page. So if I'm posting content, if I were to pick a clip from this to post, I would post business advice to LinkedIn. I would post funny laughter moments between us to Instagram. An interesting question that you asked, I would do a poll on Twitter. That's the idea, is that like the right social platform gets the right content is what we're talking about. But yeah, so the links thing is pretty cool, but I'm finding that like getting smaller and smaller in what people want to manage. Even your biggest fans, like I was saying, are not going to follow 7 platforms.
No.
Yeah.
Like, do you follow 7 platforms from
No.
anybody? But the problem is some people only do YouTube and Instagram, and some people only do LinkedIn and Twitter, and some people only do
Yeah.
that's the problem you're in
Yeah.
fashion. So you have some space because your demographic you're exactly where, right? You're exactly where you need to be. Your people buying are on Instagram.
Yeah.
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 But if you're selling, I don't know, insurance, it's not the same.
No.
Your people aren't on Instagram,
No,
right?
you don't want to go on Instagram.
Yeah. So, okay. So what about the process of sourcing? We talked a lot about sourcing with Ron and Lene, but do you have any thoughts on sourcing, ethics / cost / literally anything about like, how do you, I mean, stylistically, I know how you choose this stuff. You choose what you like, but like, where do you go? What's the plan here? How'd you do this? What's the deal?
So much digging.
Let's
Yeah,
dish.
we have been doing this for 6 years. I mean, we're still trying to find companies that we
Yeah.
want to purchase from.
Oh my gosh. What are the things you like? Because obviously we're going to run into companies that want to sell their stuff. What are some qualifications of like the perfect partner that makes stuff for you? Like, I'll ask it another way. So, what is the kind of, is it like cause based? Is it quality based? Is it price? Is it look only? What are some of the things you're like, ooh, I love?
Definitely a mixture of all of that.
Yeah,
like
I would say, mixture of all of
quality,
it.
like the branding of it. Like we're very neutral.
Definitely with this year, with everything that's gone on, we definitely want to try and stick with more like small businesses, American-made things.
I saw your signs that support local,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Man, I'm not against big businesses, but people don't realize how far a dollar goes to a
Yeah.
small
I
business.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's a huge deal. Like, you don't know if you're catching them right when that bill's due, to be honest with you. Like, that's just how, because these businesses are able to run on much smaller costs. And so they take these risks. You're like, wait a minute, $5,000 is the difference between staying open and not staying open. That's like the coffee budget at a large business for an hour.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, you're totally right. Are there any like areas of partnerships that you're kind of like curious about? Like, I mentioned Cindy Ruckman over at the Alpaca Farm. She makes those beautiful, hand woven like wool socks and stuff
Oh, yeah.
that are like
Cool.
made locally. They're so comfortable and they're like your color palette and stuff. Like, totally you should connect with
Yeah.
someone like
definitely.
that.
We love like little things like that.
oh yeah, socks go crazy. I don't even know how many socks we sold during Christmas time.
Is that
but
right?
Yeah, we sold a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
socks.
That's a lot of grandmas buying socks for their sons.
Yeah.
Anybody,
Yeah.
really.
So
Everybody wears them.
what about like short run, long run? What makes it hard for you to purchase from somebody? Is there like a quantity that creates difficulty?
Oh yeah,
or-
usually it depends on the quantity. Because if you have to order like a large amount, it's hard because we're in such a small
Yeah.
town to be able to like.
And we just started online, so we're still trying to get that to grow too. So
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
want to stack your inventory with a bunch of stuff hoping
then
it
get
goes.
stuck with it.
Yeah, get stuck with it.
It's crazy. People are like, I'll just sell on the internet. And it's like, yeah, you have a lot more customers, but suddenly every store is on your street,
Yeah.
because you have to sell against fast fashion and
Yeah.
all these other things. But I think the connection, what I've seen, the reason I'm here today is like, I've seen you have this actual personal connection mixed with competition. So people would never choose the unknown option over knowing you. Like if there's a choice between this sweatshirt from you or something similar from someone I don't know, we're obviously going to buy it from you. And I think you have a very large community of people for the size of the store and the size of the community you have physically that's like, oh yeah, let's look for an option. What about that weird fuzzy sweater that Ashley looks so cute in? Did you remember that one I bought?
that pink one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love
Oh,
that. We
yeah.
actually got one kind of like that. And
You know
like
Claire's wearing it now?
Really?
Ashley said she loved it. And she just, every time, you know how you get something and you do love it conceptually, but every time you put it on, you're like, this just doesn't quite make the number one.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I really love it and I'm not getting rid of it. I really love it. And she just couldn't find an occasion to wear it. And then Claire tried it on and she looked amazing.
Aw.
So
So cute.
Ashley's like, okay, fine. You can have
wear
it.
And she didn't have to get rid of it either.
She didn't
Yeah.
have to
They
get
can
rid of it.
share now.
Exactly. So, again, I don't want to pander here, right? Like, so I'm a middle-aged dude. And you already said that you didn't feel like it. Well, I think you were talking about family. Do you feel like being young ladies has affected your opportunity at all? Has it affected your are there difficulties? The reason I'm asking is like, I have a lot of young artists in our network, a lot of young ladies in our network that just are sitting here deciding what to do next. And so I don't want to drive you into any part of the conversation. If there's anything you'd like to say to them or parents or whatever, if this is a non-topic, then it's a non-topic and we'll move on.
I mean, it's a little intimidating because we're women and sometimes it feels like you can't do something. But once you stop and think like, I can do this, we can do
We
this.
can do anything. Like
It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we could build stuff. We could do anything. I don't know, but you just have to learn how to do it and just start doing it.
That's the fun part is like learning to do something new.
Just do it.
I love that. That's like, and I'm not taking learning as a Renaissance trait, right? Like that's something we believe in, but it's clearly been around a long time. But like, I just love that feeling of, this is an obstacle. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then you just go, there's a moment where you just decide, well, I guess I'm going to do it.
Just do it. Yeah. You can't be scared. You can't live in fear all the time. You just have to.
You look around, you're like, there's nobody else. Like, I guess I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then you do it and you're like, oh my gosh, like I just did that. Can you share something that I cut you off there? Can you share something that you did that you're like, I didn't think I could do that?
Well, just like whenever we first got the store, my mom just like handed it off to us. Like,
oh, they don't know the story.
Oh yeah, they
tell us that. Yeah.
Okay, so like
take your time. I'm
going
gonna sip tea and eat a bagel.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah, our mom was like going through a lot at the time. She had lost her dad, her aunt, and her brother, like all within like 2 years, and she had been taking care of them all the time. And she's just like, I can't do this anymore. The shop's getting like too stressful, trying to take care of the bills and everything. So one day after the funeral, I think it was the same day. She's like, she just walked into our house, handed us the piles of the bills and said, it's yours. I don't want it anymore. It's your guys's. And
talk about not getting any sleep that night.
Yeah, I literally cried in bed and I just like prayed and I was just like I was just stressed the whole entire time. But then my mom came over and she like helped show us how to do things.
She said it that way, but she didn't. That wasn't the last time you talked to your mom.
No,
or something,
no.
Like she was clearly very supportive.
Night, I was just like, so much was going on with the shop too. We actually, on our 5 years, I think, that's when she handed it to us and we're like, we thought about completely closing down. We're like, this is just getting too hard. We don't have enough. But then we're like, okay, let's just stick to it. Let's see what happens. And then that year, like our 5th year, we just really started growing. That's when we opened up our online store.
Yeah, it was either we're going to close or we're going to improve.
Yeah.
So
And this year has definitely been our best year, like COVID year. I mean, it's not the same for every business, but we've definitely done well. And a lot of other businesses I've talked to, they've said that this year has been like their best year.
Yeah.
Or
definitely a blessing.
Or the opposite. They have to
I said
close
struggled.
down.
Yeah, you're saying a lot of people have said it was a good year this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a pretty good year this year too. I think, on one hand, you never want to like blame the victim if somebody had a horrible year because of circumstances. Like some people had no control and there's just nothing they could do. It was really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand, there are groups of people who the forcing of like the way the year forced us to pivot made us better. Like that whole, what did you just say? You said like we had to either.
We were either going to close or we were going to do better.
Yeah. And like, if you don't have a year that's crazy, sometimes you do that holding pattern, that happens in early relationships and stuff. You're like, maybe this will get better. Maybe this will get better.
Yeah.
And I just said to Jeff and Amy, I was like, you kind of want to know early when you're dating. You don't want to know 7 years later that it didn't work out. You want to know like maybe 4 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so sometimes environmental changes like that and industry changes create the necessity for adaptation. And like, if you fail, you fail. But a lot of people I've heard have been like, man, I was scared to death. But actually, like going online is certainly not like a weird change that you would have to make. It's completely possible that like construction happens and they reroute your road.
Yeah.
And that same thing could happen. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things that can come up that make us do things. And you really handled it well. I mean, I feel like it really came into your own. The color palettes here are great. I do want to talk about that. I want to talk I just want to use imagination of like cool products and things you can do. And I definitely want to talk about designing clothing. Maybe we'll do that if we do a second episode.
Yeah.
That's an ambition of mine. I know both of you express different interests in that. So we'll talk about that as well. But what about staffing and keeping the place staffed? I think you have some people that work for you, right?
Nope.
It's just us two.
Yeah.
Who are the other people that I see in here sometimes? Who's
Our-
gotten me coffee and stuff?
Our dad comes in and like builds stuff.
She
for
wasn't
us,
your
but
dad. Yeah. Is there
Our
another?
mom has worked for us a couple times if we're not here.
I'm like imagining something.
I
then.
guess a couple years ago we had 2 other workers, but
But you just have
We just
kind of
save a-
taken that on yourself now.
yeah,
Yeah.
we save a lot of money just us
Yep.
to work. I mean, we have thought about hiring someone, but it's just so
it's
hard
hard
to find.
because
Yep. I
We've
got
had
it.
a lot of people steal from us.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
it's
Go
so
out
weird.
to the small town and steal rings.
Yeah. It's
You got 'em
usually
on
junior high
camera.
girls. Yeah. We're watching
Yeah.
you.
Well, it's not even just that. It's just like we have a level of what we expect, and
Yeah.
it's hard to
get
find
it.
that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that too. It's funny because it's like it doesn't matter how small the job is. It's hard to be patient when you're like when people are cool with not doing a good job.
Yeah.
You're just like, and so then you don't want to be like that jerk that's like making a big deal out of everything. But at the same time, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? It's like, what? Put the cup there? Yeah. Why? Why
Yeah.
would you do that? Now at home, I leave stuff laying around all the time. But in business, I'm like, no, that's not the cup holder for that. That's
Yeah.
the cup holder for that.
Yeah, I definitely feel like our lives are very different here than they are at home.
Oh,
Just-
yeah, for sure.
We have a way we like things here, and at home things just kind of are crazy. But
Yeah.
So let's skip to some stuff with, it's really good to get to know you guys. Let's skip to some resources, tools, habits you have that you find help you in everyday business life. What are some, it can be a routine, it can be a technology, it can be a habit, it can be, any kind of tool that you use. Is there anything that you guys use that you're like, man, this makes my life easier?
oh my word, Instacart.
Instacart?
We get so much milk a week. Being able just to like go
What's
pick
Instacart? Is that the delivery?
for Walmart.
It's from Walmart. I mean, we could use a different one, but we use Walmart. But before, I hated going inside because we'd get like 12 gallons of milk and everybody would come up to us like, what are you doing with that milk?
You
All that
starting
milk.
an ice cream station?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just it was time consuming, and now
Yeah.
you can just go pick it up.
So
that, and
Instacart's a big one. What else?
What else do we use?
What about routines? Like, is there a routine that it used to take you a while, but now you're like, okay, I got it? You can post the things that you post. Has that sped up, or maybe even your coffee shop, or
We do a lot of like batch photos. So
what do you mean by that?
so when we get like new inventory in, we'll do like little photo sessions, getting pictures of each a new item that we have, or going out in a field or outside and getting like good quality pictures so that during the
Yeah.
day, if we're busy, we can just pop one on Instagram real quick. And
That's
throw
a
it-
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm working with a client on right now is simplifying the intake and simplifying the export. And so when you, like, for example, if you wanted to post content every single day, it's difficult to do that. It's hard to do that. So what you need to do is have some sort of form. This is me talking to him. I don't know if this works for you guys, but you have some sort of form, almost like a Mad Lib. I'm going to put one up on the blog. Well, I'm going to make one for him and then post it. But where you know exactly the format of what you're capturing. And as you have an idea, you write that down and answer the right questions. And then, so say this was a podcast or something, I could write down segment idea, who the guest is, and then forget about it. And then I have this stack of things that I can do digitally or paper. It's probably the same on photos. You really want to have, you do not want to take photos of individual outfits
no,
all
not
at
every
one, like
day.
No.
each day you take a photo, let's try something on. But we do stuff like that all the time. We do single non-automated things all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't sustain this. But you're saying you get like 25 things in or 10 things in or 5 things in. And
Yeah, we
you
usually
go
wait
do
until
10.
we get enough clothes in, and then we'll take all the pictures, and then we're able to put them online.
How do you store those photos? Just in your phone or?
Oh yeah, we
they're
have
on my phone.
like
There's a lot
20,000
of
pictures
them.
on our phone.
I
kinda
kind of here's
stressful,
what it
but-
feels like. It feels like the teacher just walked back in the classroom and said, "What are you girls doing?" And you said, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That's what it sounded like right now. The shame on your face that you keep all those photos just in your camera
It's so
roll.
much
Yeah.
easier though than using, like, if we go outside, we'll take Megan's camera because it just looks way better to have her
Yeah.
outside pictures with her.
Honestly,
one.
most of our pictures are iPhone pictures.
Same.
Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah. Yeah. The issue becomes like if we're doing commercial work, we need a higher resolution for print or for any other sort of media that's larger, medium format, whatever media. But in general, 90% of this content is going on a tiny screen.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
A phone
90 is
screen,
probably
yeah.
generous. Yeah. It's going on a phone screen. And the website Like my website now is probably 30% iPhone, like my actual photography section of the website.
Yeah, most of our, like, if you shop online, pretty much all of our pictures on there are phone pictures.
It's
which is
weird.
sad.
You talk to all these artists and they're like, oh, filmmakers, I got to get the 8K camera. And I'm like, have you ever shot in 4K? No. It's like, you can't even export it. Like I shot the first episodes. I've just got an iPhone set up here because I want to have this, but mainly I'm doing it for the radio. And like, I shot in 4K. It was like 30 gigabytes for one sit down or for one camera. And then I'm like, maybe I'll do 1080. And you can't even get 1080 where people are watching this, if they're even watching it. And it was 4 gig. And they want to shoot 8K. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like, do as little as you possibly can to still do a good job. As little as you can.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you had any conflict in your purchasing process? Not with customers, not with building owners, things like that, but like in your
Or like wholesale?
well, yeah. So I guess what I'm asking is, have you had to handle yet anything where you've had to kind of let somebody know in the business space yet, or if you've been pretty fortunate so far, like that owes you, or have you run into difficulty like that, or has it been pretty smooth sailing?
I mean, it's been pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times when people will just, I don't want to sound mean, but there's like people will just drop off some of their little items that they make from like a small business.
Trinkets or something.
Yeah, and it's not really our style.
Yeah, it's not good
But they
enough
like
yet.
expect us, since we're like live in the same town, that they want us to sell it.
How do you manage? This is one of those things where it's like you try to be nice about it, but you have this high expectation. You can share that expectation. People can achieve it. It's not like you're saying I'm better than you and I will always be better than you. You're just saying my stuff is good.
And we expect
more
your stuff to be good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so that's a hard discussion to navigate.
Yeah.
You know, as I'm recruiting, artists and thinkers and craftsmen and techies and stuff, there are inevitably going to be people who have a lot of ambition, and you just look at their work and you just go, sorry, you're not there yet, but here's some ways that you can get there. That's just a hard conversation to have.
Yeah.
So do you punt on that conversation? You go, oh, thank you. And then you just don't sell it and you put it in the back, or
I
do you
think
tell them?
sometimes I almost like tell them to go to a different store. Like, this isn't our style, but I think this store you would do a lot better.
Wow,
And
that's really nice. I think your customers are probably shopping.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even say it?
yeah.
I don't know. I think one thing I've kind of learned to say is we kind of have I keep saying it, aesthetic and a brand. And if it doesn't match that, it's just not going to go well with the store.
Yeah.
So I say you can kind of change it a little bit, or it's just not going to work.
Right.
Which is kind of like uncomfortable.
It's
but
very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, can you hear me eating the bagel okay in there?
It's not too bad.
That's awesome. We did a sound test and I had her eat a bagel into the mic.
That's pretty
It wasn't on
disgusting.
purpose. It just, I had wished I didn't
Hear
Yeah.
that?
spend so much on my headphones. So I wish I had cheaper headphones. So, that's true. And I think that comes from some clarity of your aesthetic. Like, if you don't know your own limitations, then you're going to get run over by that stuff. You're going to be like, oh, this product is cool. This product's cool. That was kind of my earlier question about, like, what are your standards for choosing what you're working with? And, I think it's just a really obvious answer for you guys. It's not as obvious as it sounds, though, because it's not just a color palette. Is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
we usually try and stay towards neutral tones. Like, we don't like bright colors.
We used to like do a lot of, oh, this is cute. Let's get this. Now, one thing we've said a lot lately is, would I use this?
Or would I wear this?
Would I want this
Yeah.
in my house?
Yeah.
And that's when things really changed. Because,
Because now we want to keep everything.
yeah.
that's a weird phenomenon that happens. Like, if I were to explain my dream job, I would say my dream job is doing stuff I want to do around things that I like.
Yeah.
Like, people, if you look at the list of things I want to design and make, it's just stuff that I bump into. I would like to I have a specific design I've made for a dresser because I have a dresser.
Yeah.
And like, I want to make a clothing line because I wear clothes, and I want to have, do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
like,
I know what you're saying.
I'm essentially just taking everything in my life and going like, I'd like to make my version of that.
Yeah.
And it seems like once you turn that corner, not the corner of realizing it, but the corner of actually making it, like you've done, you can't buy this dresser. It doesn't exist. But in the store, you can buy the stuff that they wear.
Yeah.
And like people, what's happening there? Like, do you think that's the main thing for most people, or is this just one way to do it? To do it your own way and then attract people that are like you.
Yeah. I think once we started doing things the way we wanted to actually do it, you drew like a completely different like audience. And
Yeah. Do people start using the word like authentic around you and things like that?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That happens to me too. Like, I don't know exactly what that is. I think it's probably kind of obvious, but yeah, tell me more about that. What do you think?
I don't know. You're never going to please everybody, and you have to kind of like learn to understand that. And once you start getting into what you really enjoy doing and what you really like, I think a lot of people see that and they get excited because they like the same things as you do.
What do you think about that?
I totally agree. Yeah, I think once we changed it to what our look is, we drew in a whole bunch of different people. Like,
We have customers that will come from 45 minutes away,
Yeah.
like multiple times a week,
Yeah.
just to come in here because they want to be here.
That's so awesome. That's like,
crazy.
that's
this
the
little
thing.
tiny town just to come here and then they go right back home.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
I'm excited for Risen Thrift too because
I know.
Yeah. That's going to literally boost
more
tourism to Danville. I'm not being dramatic here.
No, it
I'm
is.
literally saying that's going to be a destination.
yes.
And I'm going to be doing work with them. I'm really excited. So we're going to be getting their links profile set up, and we're going to do some story videos about the ministry that they're doing there. We're going to do the whole thing. I'm really excited about
I
Risen
am
Thrift.
too.
And of course, you know, if you don't want to drive 45 minutes or an hour, honestly, the drive, you wouldn't want to commute that drive to work every day, but it is part of the experience. The drive is
It's
so
pretty, yeah.
beautiful out here. It's I talk about it in several episodes, so I got to quit, but that drive is really, really cool. Yeah, that whole process, I was thinking also that process of doing kind of in a sense creating and shopping for yourself and doing things for yourself. In other words, if nobody showed up today and I didn't need the money, I basically just built a really cool place for myself to hang out and try on clothes. Like,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
that's the idea. The other thing I guess that might be happening is there's a quality control aspect to it, which is you get to test if you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making something for money and you're not the client, you're kind of guessing if people will like it. You don't have that, you know what I mean? You don't have that instinct kicking in. Like I constantly see things and I go,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't care for that. Somebody else might like it, but I literally have no idea if they will. All I know is I like it. So people who like what I like will like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Of course. That's the right way to say it.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. She summed it up correctly. Great. So, yeah, so I think I definitely want to have you guys back on. Let's do another episode for sure. Any other practical tips for people who want to start something that's a little bit more boutique, grow it organically like you have? Anything you maybe would have done differently that we can close out with, or things that you know for sure helped you? We talked about shopping for yourself, designing for yourself, and that filter is a guarantee. The three of us agree authoritatively that's the right way to do it, we think. If you give me another example, maybe I'll change my mind, but I think that's the best way. You should definitely do that. We talked a little bit about doing social media that makes sense to you. Is there anything that definitely won't work or definitely will work that you want to share with the audience? If they're on the edge of their seat going, man, I'll take anything. I just want to get started here.
I'd probably say this is what everybody says, but just be yourself.
Yeah.
Do
Be
what
consistent.
Be consistent. Do what you like. You're not, because you can't copy everybody. That's not going to be your thing.
I think
You have to
we
figure
kind
out
of
who
had
you
a
are.
problem. We kind of wanted to be like another boutique, and we kept trying to be like them, and then we're like, okay, it's not us. Why are we trying to be like
It's
them?
not going to fit.
Yeah. We need
You
to
just
be
kind of
ourselves.
ended up being second place to
Yeah.
them and your
Yeah.
audience. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So if you are looking, if you're in this space specifically, feel free to reach out to Blonde Robin. Of course, I'm always up for a conversation and a chat. If you're having trouble figuring out who you are and what you're doing and some of the clarity, if you're in a space where you're like, man, I'd like a minute or two with Blonde Robin, they're not open for booking for conversation or anything, but you can certainly ask or maybe come get a coffee.
Yeah, come get a coffee.
Just
We'll
don't be
talk.
weird. Yeah. And, but I am open to chat about that and maybe help with some clarity, but so good to have you on. I'm really looking forward to this next conversation. Some of the things I was most excited to talk about, I held off on because we are actually going to talk art, inspiration, aspirations, and I'm going to get to kind of take the host hat off and just kind of like, just go with you on
Yay.
fashion design and
So excited.
some of the kinfolk, the Renaissance gatherings that we talked about a
Yeah.
little bit. We're going to talk about that. And
I'm excited.
that's it. Hey, don't worry about
This
liking
was
and
fun.
subscribing. It's just our future. Thank you so much for coming. Any closing remarks?
That
That was awful.
See you guys.